Okay, another thing that we seem to normalize here is this notion that you have to bend the knee and give some kind of tithe or gift every time you see the president, and that combination of gift giving and flattery will get you where you want to go. But the reality is we are seeing that happen, and it's a tragedy, okay? So the Washington Post article that came out today, America's CEOs come to the White House bearing gifts and flattery. So yesterday, Tim Cook came to the Oval Office. This is a executive who gave $1 million, by the way, to President Trump's inauguration committee. He came, and there's a video here on the Washington Post of him with a 24-karat gold offering, essentially. Okay, and it says Cook was the first Silicon Valley CEO to tame Trump during president's first term. But in the Oval Office on Wednesday, it appeared Trump brought the leader of the $3 trillion company to heel. So he gives this gift and he says, "You've been a great advocate for American innovation and manufacturing, and I'm grateful for your leadership and your commitment." Okay. Here's what, and he also announced, by the way, that he is going to have an additional $100 billion in U.S. manufacturing over the next 4 years. That is a good thing. It is good that jobs are being created in the U.S. The article then goes on to say, the flattery appears to have paid off. Trump announced in the same meeting that he planned to levy 100% tariffs on semiconductors imported to the United States. Apple would be exempt, he said, because the company is building in the United States. Now, you remember that despite other plans by Apple in the past, Trump was threatening Apple outwardly, right? He's saying that everything should be produced in the United States. That's what he was demanding, even though some analysis showed that iPhones would be thousands of dollars if that were the case. But now all of a sudden he's about faced because he's seeing all this flattery. And it's not just about the investment that Apple is making here, because Apple has been making investments in the United States. It's about the orientation. It's about bending the knee, giving these gifts. We've seen this with other executives. Jensen Huang, okay. Jensen Huang is the head of NVIDIA, one of the most successful companies in the world, especially when it comes to AI and semiconductors. So the article says, Trump and Huang, the CEO of the AI chip powerhouse, met for the first time in January, but they have become fast allies. Huang has made frequent visits to Mar-a-Lago, and Huang's warm relationship with Trump was on display at the Winning the AI Race Summit last month. Okay, so Trump riffed about how he had talked with his aides about breaking the company up before he knew what he did, but Trump and his staff told him it would take the greatest minds at least 10 years to catch Huang, even if he ran NVIDIA completely incompetently. Now, this is a guy who, he's an executive. I don't blame him for trying to grow his company. But he knows flattery, right? He goes to Mar-a-Lago, he talks to Trump, he butters him up. So what's the kickback? Here's the Washington Post again. Trump in July granted NVIDIA permission to sell China its advanced H20 computer chips to develop artificial intelligence, despite concerns from national security officials and prominent conservatives that sales present a national security risk. That same month, NVIDIA became the first company to reach a $4 trillion valuation. So to oversimplify it, under the Biden administration, we were concerned that if China got a hold of some of the chips that NVIDIA made, so particularly the high-end chips, that they would be able to produce and compete with us more forcefully on AI. So we restricted some of those because we wanted to make sure that America was placed first. Jensen Huang was very smart in his flattery of Donald Trump. He used the playbook to flatter Donald Trump. And now all of a sudden, poof, those are restricted. China gets our chips, our technology. By the way, China is notorious for stealing technology. That makes us less competitive. Oh, and on top of that, there's now trillions of dollars. The valuation of NVIDIA is now at $4 trillion. Look, Jensen Huang knows how to flatter Trump. But this is just another example of how the flattery works, right? Joe Biden and other past presidents would want to build relationships with these CEOs to help them grow. About President Trump, it's about who bends the knee to him, and only then does he allow these things, even if he's willing to sacrifice the competitiveness of the United States against one of our key pacing adversaries for the future. The article also talks about Elon Musk, and I don't even have to talk about this one, right? You know what happened here. He spent $250 million getting Trump elected. He continues even in the background. Obviously there's been some tension recently between them, but he basically let Elon Musk run roughshod over the administration. There's one specific thing I want to point out. I don't want to get too into USAID today, but the work that Trump allowed Elon Musk to do, not only is it hurting mothers who are in vulnerable positions all across this world, who need that money for their families, for food, for men and women across the world. Some people say, oh, well, there's people struggling in the United States, so we've got to help them. We do, and I understand that argument. Here's the other argument that people seem to miss, okay? When we don't provide that aid around the world, by the way, a minuscule percentage of our budget, Russia, China, and other adversaries fill that void, okay? They provide the aid. It's already happening. And so when those countries continue to develop and they decide who they're going to ally themselves with, do you think they're going to decide in the United States that all of a sudden cut funding to them? Or do you think they're going to go with those people? Those countries, that's what makes us less competitive, okay? This is a president who takes a short-term approach that screws us in the long term, that we will be screwed in our ability to compete with our allies across these developing countries because this short-sighted individual decided to just hand over the keys to Elon Musk to make all the cuts like he thought he was going to do to revolutionize government. Elon Musk said he was going to cut $2 trillion from the government. It's unclear if he cut anything. There were some reports on 20 billion or something, but then it was debunked on the amount they spent. This is the joke of this president. It all is the same under the same equation, which is claim you're doing something, but lie behind the scenes and actually undermine the very people that you say you're fighting for. Whether it's in the case of career employees or veterans or minors, or whether it is in the case of our competitiveness with our key adversaries and having the best technology in the world.